Resident Evil 4 is coming out, and Grayson and I grew up with the Resident Evil series, and we decided we'd count down some moments that are very special to us.
Yep.
So let's kind of go in order, starting from Resident Evil 1. Whenever you first came over to my house and we played this for the first time, you brought Resident Evil 1. We launched that, and those live action FMVs were the scariest things I'd ever seen in my life. You and I used to obsess over how awesome Albert Wesker looked.
Yeah.
And how bad, I mean, they all look badass. When Barry Burton came on, we are 11 years old, and Grayson is just like, Barry is the most badass character I've ever seen.
Barry still is the most badass character, man. He's got the Colt Python. He got the big old cannon going after the zombies.
It's crazy to think that now we're about to go into a Resident Evil 4 remake, and we've been playing Resident Evil for like 24 years.
The only reason why I got into Resident Evil, and this is sticking with Resident Evil 1, is that my brother got a copy of the director's cut of Resident Evil 1, and it came with a demo disc of RE2.
Oh, okay.
And that's all he would let me play.
The demo?
Was just the demo. He said, I will let you play RE2 if you beat RE1.
Okay.
He would not let me do anything unless I beat RE1. Stepping into that world and that door opening up.
Oh, the doors and staircases, just like those were the loading things.
Going into the mansion. I think for me, Resident Evil 1 is probably the most important ending to me. My brother comes in. My mom tells him that I'm at the end of the game. So my brother walks into the living room because he wants to watch it, mainly because he wants to see me fail. So I'm fighting Tyrant. I'm down to my last hit point. I'm in danger. I hit the inventory screen. I see my bars red. It's about to go down. Tyrant is coming for me. Dave is sitting there and he goes, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna do this. He goes, you're not gonna be able to beat this game.
The drama.
So in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna prove it wrong. And at that moment when he says, you're not gonna be able to beat it, helicopter shows up. Here comes the rocket launcher. I have no idea this is coming. I have no clue. 8-year-old Grayson's like, what? I have ammo now? Because I didn't have any ammo. Like, I was out. I didn't know how to conserve ammo as a kid. I see something, I shoot it. So I see it, and my brother's like, what am I doing? So I go towards it, and I grab it, and about the same second that I grab it, Tyrant comes in for that charge, you know, that hook that he does, that charge? I push the start button, equip it. So I remember taking a breath and being like, here we go. Unpause. Hit the button, hit him, dead. And I got up, and it was the first moment that I was like, yes, yes.
You're just like,
I remember telling my brother, I was like, I told you I could do it.
Yeah.
And I was dancing all around the house and everything. Absolute gaming bliss.
It's a special moment.
It was. Like, it was the first time that I ever thought that something was so impossible and I couldn't do it. And then I overcame it in a video game.
Yeah. We'll move on to Resident Evil 2. I remember, so I bought Resident Evil 2 at the same time I bought Lego Island on PS1 and Resident Evil 2.
What a combo.
I'm staying with my aunt, my Aunt Ola. She was the best. I get to her house and I'm gonna play Resident Evil 2. I open Resident Evil 2 and the disc falls out. And I put it in, you know, the narration start. It's like, it's been 4 years since the events of the Spencer Man. I think it's the black and white picture of the zombie from the first game that's like, So I'm like, what? And so I turn it off, I turn it on again, and I look at the disc, and there is just a, I don't know how it happened, but there's just a scratch. So I put it back in, I'm like hammering the start button, right? And I get to the start menu. So I'm like, oh, thank God. So I start the game, and this trucker's like, what he bought? And I'm like, what?
You're like, no, who bit him? Who bit him?
But I just happened to drop the disc when I was opening it, and like it was a greatest hits version, and it was like, man, $20, I'm done. Like, I'm not buying that again. I was playing as Claire.
I had already beaten it, so I was helping you at this point.
Yeah, and I would be scared to play Resident Evil. I wouldn't play Resident Evil or Silent Hill games unless Grayson came over to my house, right? I would be too scared to play him. And I was at the end of Resident Evil 2, and we're in my room, and I'm playing, and I'm fighting Tyrant. And there's a mechanic in Resident Evil where, with the tank controls, you can aim up or down. You never use them in the game. I remember, you know, the countdown's happening, Grayson is like cheering me on and stuff, we're little kids, and Tyrant jumps on top of the tanks. And I take my grenade launcher and I go, and then the cutscene triggers. And what happened then, Grayson?
I jump up, and whatever I do, whoop, and it skins the back of my foot, like completely skins it. So I don't say anything. So Sean and I are just like so excited. I'm fighting through the pain. I'm excited for my friend. We watch the credits and we're just like, I'm like, man, I can't believe you did that. Hey, you got a Band-Aid?
I can't believe you beat that. Way to go, Sean. You got a Band-Aid?
And he's like, why? And I was like,
I'm bleeding.
I'm bleeding. I cut my foot, whatever, on the couch. And we look at it, and I remember thinking it wasn't that bad until we looked at it, and the cut was like that long on the back of my foot.
Yeah, you had this big stretch scrape. There's blood coming out of your freaking heel. It was like, oh my God, what'd you do?
I was excited for my friend. He finally beat Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
Whenever you're going through the Raccoon City Police Department, and I'm walking down the hallway, because I've already seen the liquor, like I can't imagine what else is coming. And then the arms shoot through the window.
You're on edge because you know there's a monster you haven't seen before, or a monster you've already seen, right? And it's like you think it's going to be that when it attacks you. So it kind of gets you with like just the zombies. That seeing the liquor and being like, this could be around the corner. It loads you with tension, and then it hits you with it with the arms coming through.
I had never seen anything like that. But once again, it was Resident Evil showing me new stuff that I'd never seen, and it terrified me. That was the first video game that actually made me nervous, was that. And then later on in the game, they're just like, hey, here's Mr. X, who will just chase you.
Yeah, whenever.
So have fun with that. I respected RE3 for kind of what it was. Like RE3 had the counter system, which was really neat, being able to kind of get out of the way of stuff. And they also had the build your own path type thing. They had the decisions that you could do throughout the game, which they got rid of in the remake. The main memory that I have from 3 is probably the first time I saw the worm boss and just being so confused on how to beat it. I was like, what is the path that this thing is taking? And it's so simple. But at that time, I was like, this is the most complex boss I've ever fought in my life. And it's just a worm just going around. It's just playing Snake with you the whole time.
Fast forward to Game Attack days, and we're streaming Resident Evil 3. So we get to this water level puzzle, and Grayson's dragging ass on this story about how hard it was and all this. I beat it in about a minute. Cool, simple, like, oh, this level does this level, this meter does this meter, and then I hit it, and then Grayson was like so pissed, and the chat went wild. All right, so rolling into Code Veronica. Code Veronica was so special to me because you had left a magazine in my house, and it had a Dreamcast walkthrough for Veronica. I would read the walkthrough over and over and over because I didn't have a Dreamcast. It was so crazy because whenever it eventually came out on PS2, I knew this game because the strategy guide walkthrough for it seemed so interesting. Because like you're reading the strategy guide and it's like, yeah, you're on the cargo plane. Guess what? Tyrants in the cargo hold. You have to fight them, and then
awesome.
You have to knock them out of the back of the plane. This is not a real Resident Evil game. Like this is not happening.
You know it's not gonna be a Resident Evil game like your standard one at the very beginning of the game. Because when it launches, you have that awesome cutscene with Claire. Because she's running down the hallway, and then she gets stopped by those guards, and she sees a little, I don't remember if it's a fire extinguisher or if it's like an explosive tank behind them. But she does that drop shoot thing, and you're like, oh, here we go.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, little Claire from RE2 done grown up, huh? Oh, here we go.
It was like an anime intro.
It was. Veronica has, until 7, Veronica probably has the most unnerving monster I've ever dealt with, and it's the spider underneath the ice.
Oh yeah, that was terrifying in Antarctica.
Just seeing that thing just crawling underneath the ice, and it's got the really pointy feet. It's not like the big tarantula.
It's not a big hairy tarantula. It's like a garden spider kind of thing. But yeah, that was just awful. RE4 comes out, and you know the rest is history. I think RE4. There's a ton of set pieces in it that are amazing. Like Del Lago, the lake monster was probably my favorite. I think if I'm going to talk about a moment from RE4 that was just crazy, it was the first time I lost to the chainsaw guy.
That's mine. That's mine.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mine's the exact same moment.
That's awesome. When you die in video games, your character, he gets munched on and stuff. It was so unsettling to watch your character get decapitated. Leon is terrified, and the teeth have to go through the skin. He doesn't just like swipe your head off with the chainsaw.
Mine with the chainsaw guy was, he comes out because he's with a horde, and he comes out. I forgot about him because I'm fighting all the people. Because at that time, that's the most amount of enemies I fought in Resident Evil.
There's
like 20 to 30 people there. So I'm already nervous because I'm like, oh my God, they're throwing all these people here. oh my God, I forgot about the chainsaw guy. And I quick turn, and whenever I do, he's right here.
Yeah, yeah.
So he hits me, and it's my first time seeing the death, and I screamed. I was like, oh my God.
My RE4 moment is a little different because my RE4 memories don't come from the actual game, but it comes from my quest to get a GameCube so I could play it.
Yeah.
I was always like on a quest to get the new Resident Evil, and I didn't have a GameCube, and RE4 was exclusive to it, and so I was like, I gotta get a GameCube.
Yep.
I had a game called Dead to Rights. It was a third-person shooter on PS2, and it was awful. My friends who were twins, they had a GameCube that they never played. And they thought Dead to Rights was the most badass game ever. And so what happened was, I don't know how I did this, but I said, hey, I'll trade you Dead to Rights for your GameCube and your games. And they go, okay. And they go, let me go ask my dad. And I was like, shit, it's over. He's gonna say, are you stupid? Why would you trade one game for an entire console?
Yeah.
You can tell that the dad knows I am totally fucking his kid over. You can tell he's like, I'm about to teach my sons a lesson. And he goes, if that's what you wanna do, then go ahead. And I'm like, thanks.
I got him.
And so that's how I got a GameCube, and I ended up trading in Luigi's Mansion and like 2 controllers and Smash Melee towards Resident Evil 4. 7 was just absolutely incredible.
7 is the scariest of them all to me.
I think so too. Because it's in a house and it's domestic, let's get to specific moments though. I think for me, what comes to mind first is I think of the fight in the garage with the dad early on. And eventually you get to the metal ass chainsaw fight in the boiler room place is, chef's kiss. I think the Spider Mom is my favorite boss fight in all Resident Evils.
100%. That's my main memory.
Yeah. The first time I played against her, I beat her on my first run, but I ran out of ammo and I killed her with a knife. And that's like another like really awesome like happenstance moment that made that fight elevated because I ran out of everything. And I was like, I have to cut her. And then I killed her.
I actually was down a controller because of the mom fight. Whenever you come out of that hole and you're at the house that you fight her in, and I remember being like, man, this game got really quiet out of nowhere. I wonder what's going on. And as I'm saying that, I'm walking up the stairs. So I say, man, this game got really quiet out of nowhere. And as soon as I said that, the mom busts through the window to grab you.
Oh, yeah.
And I threw my controller and it hit the wall. And whenever it did, controller turned off.
Any RE8 moments that you really love?
Yeah, whenever you realize that your daughter is cut into pieces and you have to put your daughter back together might be one of the most metal things ever. Who wrote that down and was like, that's a good idea. That's a damn good idea.
That sounds like fun.
Who did that?
I don't know.
Fighting Lady D was a good fight. And then the baby. This big deformed baby is there with you and it's on. I don't think there's more of a perfect Resident Evil game than RE2 Remake.
I don't think so either. I remember the liquor AI. I think that was my favorite stuff.
Whenever they would dive, if there was a wall by them, if their claw hit it, sparks would come
That's
off the
right.
wall. Mr. X, like literally being on you the whole game. There is no, oh, he'll be, at a couple of spots as a cutscene. No, he's on you.
I was so scared they were going to open the gator, but they did, and it was awesome. I think we'd probably agree that our favorite RE2 moment is Leon is dirty, shredded up, and he's got, bloody marks in him. I remember when you're fighting Tyrant on the elevator, it really, more than the original, really makes you feel like how far Leon has come overnight because of the distressing of the model. And we were burning him and shooting him, and we just kept going, it's his first day
Well,
on
you
the
shouted
job.
it.
He's new on the force. And he's taken down a giant weaponized biogenetic mutation monster.
And then we beat it and we're like, oh man, what a great stream. There's no way it's gonna go longer. And then you got to play through Claire's side.
Yeah, I want to wrap this list with something very special that happened during the Game Attack days. We were doing a playthrough of RE1, and Bruce the Pug had diarrhea. He did. He had a stomach virus. And so he's on the couch with us, and we've got him wrapped in a t-shirt. He's as cute as can be. Blind, diabetic, cancer survivor. He's got a stomach flu.
He was like the Terminator.
Yeah. And he starts leaking. And we just go on to a full-blown panic. I'll just let it play out for you guys so you guys can see the moments, because I don't know if YouTube ever saw that.
Off me! Get the laptop off me! Move the mic! It's so bad! Yes, that!
What do you want me to do?
God in heaven! Okay, wrap it around Bruce like a babe. I'm gonna roll this right here. Okay, now go around. Chase, come grab Bruce.
What?
Come grab Bruce.
Okay.
Oh my God, there's shit every.
No. Grab Bruce! Go!
Make sure and let us know what your favorite Resident Evil moments are in the comments below. We like to have conversations with you guys. You can also find us on twitch.tv/hangtime. We're playing games all the time and making big event content here in our hangar that you need to come check out. You can go watch last week's video, which is John Wick moments, in which he was totally brutal. We had a fun time talking about that, and you can catch a little PETA action. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, afternoon. I never know
Whenever
what to
you're
say.
watching it, just have a great day.
I'm really bad at outros.